High school and green, royal we culture we clean. Fi straighten up something that them lean with transparency from the agency of the I Supreme. Cosmic intuition and initiation from within. I'm an angel and on a wing like pigeon. Concept by accept of I origin, representing free-minded article breaching. Man without a woman is like a house without kitchen. People without them roots is like plants for edging. Everything perish without oxygen. Them a vibration, them a waves, and them a sound palm rhythm. Hey, time for the lions. Tell them one story. Listen to the lion voice, yeah. Up.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Talk about life on Bobo Hill when Emmanuel was there, because again, my listeners, a lot of them are younger, so they may not have known that glorious time. We see the reverberation around the world. I love to see the Bobo Shanty in Ghana when I'm in Ghana, holding their priestly order, same way. And you go Ethiopia, I met with Priest Paul when I went to Ethiopia, and you see Bobo Shanty there. So it becomes global. But what was it like at that foundation on the Bobo Hill?
Bobo Hill is, and especially those days, it was always awesome. It was very spectacular. You did not feel like you were in Jamaica. Setting of the place. The aura, it was the kind of love, the honor you received. You were being addressed as prophet. You were, people were being addressed as Lord and impressed. And the ones were princes and princesses. Wow. that was something I tell you, Rasquasi. And the whole place. People were eating. There was this big food house that when it was time to eat, everyone congregated and you sat around the table, and the long tables, and those tables were covered with nice table covering, and the priest from the royal kitchen would just come forward, the trays and the special food. And the taste of the food, yes, and it was so glorious. It was very family, and those things impressed me a lot. And even when I went there as a youngster at 14, it was the kind of, I don't want to use the word hospitality, I would have to say, the kind of Rastafari treatment that was there. Because you were always fed with, fruits and roots, wine, all those things, and Zion water. That was one of the most, interesting thing about Bobo Shanty. They did not drink ordinary water, Rasquasi.
What kind of water?
We have these massive water tanks.
Okay.
It's Zion water. They harvest rainwater.
Okay.
They harvest rainwater. Always filling tanks, and so they harvest rainwater, and Bobo Shanty would be walking around with their calabash. Every Bobo Shanty seemed to have a bag those days across, the shoulder, and in that bag whether it be a knitted bag or bags made from big gourd. But in that bag, they would have their little drinking vessel and their special little things that they eat, because the eating was a very strict principle. They never ate, even till now, the eating of Bobo Shanti is quite different. And these things were very impressive, you know, and when all the things they cooked were their own, you know, production. Apart from food like banana and those things that they would either grow or buy. And those days, the truck would go out and come in with all kinds of food from the countryside. And King Emmanuel will be issuing food from all the way down the road. People would just wait for their food when the truck went out, you know. So it was really a different kind of setting, a different kind of living that the ordinary people would not be used to. And so it would have attracted and impressed one who goes to Bobo, to the Bobo Foundation, because it was truly a different setting from what was out there in the ordinary world. The place is still that, you know, special even until now.
Talk about the
economic. It was really an impressive. Of course, as I told you, you know, we had the foundation was booming in those days, and we had trucks
and the brooms. Talk about the brooms.
And I was going to come to that, and that we were mainly sustained by the things that we do, and broom is one of our main feature. Even to know, just to see a Bobo Shanti, or when he does not have a broom, he looks like he has a broom, especially when he's in his robe. And if you notice the song, See the Bobo Dreadlock with the Broom, that was truly a representation of the Bobo tradition. And we did many other things apart from broom to Resquas. We make all kinds of craft items. We make sandals, guidance. Brethren were making clothes, sisters were making all kinds of things. Every sister in the Bobo Shanti tradition seemed to be able to knit and crochet and all these kind of things. You know, having a skill or practicing a skill was order of the day for Bobo in those days. We were really great craft people. Yes. And we sustained ourselves from that. And there were those who had farms. Yes, some Bobo Shanti had their connection with farms in the country, you know, and then we would go to these places, down to St. James, way up in St. Thomas, in St. Anne. And it was such a loving, caring family, you know. Those days where, you know, when Dada was there, it was really a well-organized, well-led foundation. Today, it is still great.
We have a little delay, so continue.
Go ahead. Yes. Of course, you know, Rasquasi, the Bobo Shanti Foundation is a churchical foundation.
Yes.
And that is a very impressive part of the tradition. That is a very, very impressive part, because the order in which King Emmanuel does his praises unto Emperor Haile Selassie, you know, and then again, when I went there, there was a representation of a Trinity. And to go and see a Trinity of Black people, you are saying we have arrived, because this is not something that you are used to see a Trinity with, you know, Marcus Messiah Garvey, as you know, as the prophet, you know, the prophet John, because they you know, we like these people, you know, we see the spirit of the prophet Elijah, the prophet Daniel, you know, the prophet Jeremiah. We see the prophet spirit coming through the ages under the prophet Marcus Garvey. We see the Melchizedek spirit coming through the ages of the various Yeshua that have traveled through time. until the Christ figure, the Jesus Christ figure. And we saw, we saw that even before the Christ we saw in Moses. And of course we observed the meeting of Melchizedek with Father Abraham. And the Melchizedek order is the pride and joy of our tradition. And we see that same life, that liberty, that teaching, that essence, that love, that wisdom in Emmanuel, because he was that awesome, Gasquasi. He was that special. He was that keen, Yes, and the order that he led.
Well, don't be afraid, for I am with the eye. I will bring thy children from the east and gather thee from the west. I shall say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from afar, my daughters from the end of the earth. While you waiting, down in the west it seems your life frustrating. Down in the west it seems the haters keep hating. Africa awake, creators start creating. Then will be party waiting. Me and me woman love making. Leave Babylon and them hating. One love Africa and Jamaican. Then we'll be party waiting. Whole family them celebrating. Leave Babylon and them hating. One love Africa and the Haitian. The story written in my DNA. Them up my four parents never get no pay. But down in a them system I could never stay. For 100 years been planning a getaway. Them put us down in a the ghetto, now things get away. And the way the system set up seems it's set away. Now the ghetto youths them praying for a better day. I know the bugger them vex the day we step away. Until then, we will be party waiting. Me and me woman love making. Leave Babylon and them hatings. Black Americans will be participating. Then we will be party waiting. Whole family them celebrating. We leave Babylon and them faking. In a Brazil them and mama communicating. The story written in my DNA. That's why me couldn't work for no CIA. That's why me couldn't work for no DEA. How many innocent lives did they put away? Put us under the jail, through the book of wages. So many African males, please don't look away. I remember the land that they took away. Now Babylon them have to pay for their cookie pay.